Hello. I'd love to know who's here with me. There's definitely a difference in our background here. I am in a hotel. So let's see who's here. I think that'll be okay. Perfect. Yes. Hi, Michael. Good morning. Yes. So great that we're able to do this, right? Sorry, needed to adjust things. All right, perfect. Nancy, good morning. Michael, yes, so great to be here. So I'm in Colorado in Boulder, here with my 90, almost 2-year-old father. He'll be 92 on June 22nd. And my daughter. So I drove 11 hours on Monday, which was very interesting. Good morning, Lauren. Lauren, I'm trying to look for a home for the kittens. So yesterday I mentioned it in my class. And then Nancy, I don't know if you're up for another kitten, but Lauren is fostering them. Stevie, great. Yes. It's so interesting doing this. I taught yesterday, and I'll tell you, it was such an interesting experience for me. What a lesson. And, I think that that's how life is in general, is there's always lessons to be learned. And so often we can get, the lessons that we're learning actually have a work aspect to them, right? There's a challenge usually that happens when we have the opportunity to learn and to grow. And so then it becomes, how do we manage that? How do we deal with that? So definitely being away from my space and my structure of teaching in the environment that I teach in, the shift to actually start to teach virtual and to create a space and a container for that was what happened initially in 2020. And I realize now, being out of my container, that this also presents more aspects of creating yet another container. So I think that's what I'd like to say, is that for all of you that's practice at home, you have to give yourself kudos, because it is a challenge when you have your space around you, when it's not in the container of a classroom or a structured, habitual, daily pattern. It's very hard to maintain habits and routines that are healthy. So for those of you that are doing this, whether it's live or recorded, you really need to give yourself a pat on the back. So reach back and pat yourself on the back. I think that self-care and self-love is so huge when it comes to health and wellness, and something that we don't focus enough on. And so the lessons that I'm learning here, being away from my environment and having to figure out, how am I going to do this? What's the best situation? There's beautiful windows over there that lead out to the street, and on one side to the mountains, which is stunning. And I wanted it to be that for you to see that also. Yet then that would be behind me. And so it wasn't proper lighting. And then the sofa, I can't move that piece of furniture there, but I could move the tables and the pillows. And anyway, and even traveling with all my stuff. So it's just, the fact that we're showing up to the mat every day, regardless of where we are, kudos to us for showing up, because it is so important to keep yourself healthy. All right, so let me see. Lynn, I see that you're here. Good morning. 2 striped and 1 white and gray kittens are attending. You know what's so interesting, Lauren? My girlfriend had a stray cat that was a tiger that gave birth to 5 kittens, 2 white, 2 tigers, and a gray. So I'm actually wondering if it's their kittens you're fostering. And so that's interesting, because I was trying to find a home for those kittens too, and I thought that I had someone that would take them. And us, we're suckers for cats. We have 4, so I'm surprised that we haven't said, I'll take one. But I do love gray cats. And Lynn, I don't know if you have a cat. I know Nancy does. I highly recommend cats. Stevie, I'm not sure if you do. Highly recommend them. And Michael, I'm not sure. A little harder maybe, Michael, for you, because you travel so much. Maybe I'm not sure as much this year, but I know you travel quite a bit. All right, so let me go back to my space. So this is my space I'm going to be in, and I think that you could see me because yesterday it worked really well. And I think lighting wise, it's pretty bright because I looked yesterday at the lightness of the recording, and so it looked good. All right, so let's begin, and I'd like you to come to a seat at first. So whatever that means for you, it could be crisscross legs, whatever it is. I'd like us to set an intention for today's practice. So if you're still able to bend your knees like this and sit on your heels, that's a really good thing to keep in your body. For those that don't have it anymore, don't worry. It's okay if you don't. Sitting in a crisscross leg position is good too. Or legs to the side, whatever it is. It's really so important and becomes so much more, I just become so much more aware of this need for us to stay healthy and in our body and in our mind. And it must be because the space that I'm in and the list that I'm on and the people that I follow, that I just am aware of the sickness and the breakdown of the body and the mind on such a great level, great meaning big level. So let's take this moment to realize that what we're doing right now is the ultimate act of self-care. So bring yourself into your seated position. You're going to close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, taking away the visual field is huge. So much of the stimulation to our nervous system comes in through the optic nerve. And it's been happening for every single person you came through to be here today. Every grandparent that came before you, that lived through life and the way they lived through life, their experiences are ingrained in your nervous system. All those life experiences are here today in the way we show up. And our reactivity and response to situations is because of our lineage and what we've been exposed to in this life. So this is a moment for us to bring everything back to the start line. For us to realize that today is this day. So notice what the date is. Notice which day of the week it is. The time of the day. And from that external place, I'd like you to come closer to your physical body. So bring your awareness into the space that you're inhabiting right now. So just like bears have caves and animals create this structure around themselves for safety, I want you to create this awareness of your safety physical cave right now. Your eyes are closed. So whether this is the home that you live in or if you're in a different place practicing, we can create this inner cave or this safe space wherever we are. Remember what the day is, what the time of the day, because this is the present moment and this is where we need to be for healing. And to stop the stimulation from our grandparents from the first century, because we're not living in that life situation that they were in. So we can let go of that reactivity that's embedded, ingrained, and passed on to us. And then take your hands onto your thighs. Feel your hands onto your thighs. So I'd like you to keep your eyes closed for this next instruction, noticing that you may want to open your eyes to be like, wait, what is she doing? When we inhale, our hands will move away from our body. When we exhale, our hands will come towards our body. So we inhale like to open up to give someone a hug. We exhale to hug. And in this case, it's ourselves. We're going to inhale on the inhale, we're going to open up our arms. So open up your arms, inhale. And on the exhale, hug yourself. Inhale to open your arms. Exhale to hug yourself. It's you that you're opening your arms for, and it's you that you're hugging right now. Your arms may be going out to the side to get wider, Or you may choose to let your arms go up towards the sky on the inhale, and on the exhale, you hug yourself. I'd like you to keep your eyes closed. I'd like you to explore different movement patterns of your arms on the inhale, and on the exhale, you hug yourself. Inhale, either open your arms out and back. Exhale, hug yourself. Or take your arms down and then up over your head on the inhale, and on the exhale down and end up with hugging yourself. Whatever you're doing, you're inhaling, fill yourself up with breath. Exhale, hug yourself. If you want to get real fancy, you inhale to open your arms. When you exhale, cross the other arm on top. So switch which arm comes on top when you hug yourself. Closing your eyes, I want you to feel your shoulder blades move, your arm bones move, the chest muscles, the shoulder muscles. And if you do take your arms overhead, try the next couple to take your arms overhead if your shoulders will let you. For those with shoulder issues, that's not possible. And then take two more, inhaling, the arms are overhead. Exhale, hug yourself. Last one, feel the stretch. Low ribs move away from the seat. And then bring your arms down. Take your hands on your thighs. Rub your arms up and down your thighs. Your hands are up and down your thighs. And then rub your hands up and down your arms. So really feel yourself, bringing ourselves from the outside to the inside. Yoga is a work in, not a work out. It's a work in, it's bringing yourself inward. And then let's go ahead and open our eyes. So yoga is a work inward, and it's a way to bring ourselves to this moment, because this moment for all of us, right now, this moment, we're okay. We're not being chased by tigers. We don't have to react to anything. We're not watching anything. We're not being stimulated other than by hearing words that may be foreign to us. Self-care, self-love, things that maybe we're not thinking of often enough. Let's take your legs and stretch your legs so that the blood can come back down to the feet. And then notice what I just said there. Maybe words we're not used to hearing. Self-love, self-care, taking care of ourselves, the way we take care of our family, our children, our pets. We need to also take care of ourselves. Take your legs back. Now flip the toes under and let your legs stretch. And then let's do the same thing on the other side, allowing the blood to come back down into the legs. So we're going to come down onto the ground, going to connect to our breath on a deeper level. We brought ourselves right here to where we are, maybe stimulated a little bit of relaxation. For today's practice, you will need a block and a strap, so have those handy. And of course, a blanket if you'd like. I'd like to suggest that for postural correction, when we come onto the ground, it would be nice if today you could either use 0 blankets at your head or the smallest fold that you can get away with comfortably. So whatever that means for you. Then you're going to bring yourself down onto the ground. When you bring yourself onto the ground, arrange yourself so your back neck is nice and long. Center of the head is what is in the floor or the mat. So you have a nice long supported head. Take your arms in the floor and then lift your upper rib cage off the floor as you slide your shoulder blades closer towards each other. Then for today's practice, you could straighten your legs if you'd like, or for a little relaxation for the low back, let's try today to bend the knees. Feet are wide, wider than the body. The knees fall in towards each other, and let the knees relax in towards each other. This is relaxing for the low back. And then explore with maybe feet a little farther away from your body, or feet a little closer, and play with that to see what feels appropriate to you. Let's take the hands. One is on the heart and one is on the belly.
So focusing on yoga as a work in, going inward, being a witness to the breath and how the breath moves in your body. In yoga, in yogic philosophy, the breath is bringing in life force energy. This is our connection to life force energy through the breath. And in some explanations, so depending on what resonates with you, it's bringing in conscious energy or consciousness, or for some, the word they use for consciousness is the word God. So from a spiritual aspect, this is the way for us human beings to connect to life, to nature, to God, to consciousness. So whatever word choice works for you, not making it an organized religion and something uncomfortable, but rather this is the way for us to plug ourselves back in, to recharge our batteries the same way we would with a cell phone. When your cell phone goes low, you need to recharge it. This is you recharging you. Keeping your mouth closed, breathe in and out through your nose, and see the oxygen that you're bringing in as the charging of your vital energy, recharging your cells, recharging you. Notice where the breath goes in your body. For most people, they're breathing very shallow in the upper chest most of the day. So most of us, even those of us that are trained yoga therapists. So now I would like you to be aware of your breath. And let's utilize all parts of the lungs. The lower lobes, the middle lobes, and the upper lobes. And we're going to feel that movement in our body. So to get acquainted with the back of your lungs, the next couple of breaths, breathe in and back towards the spine. See if you could feel the lower back ribs pressing the low back towards the floor. So it'll be a pretty strong breath here. This can actually be really nice for those of you that experience low back pain, using the breath to go deep inside to release tension that is stored in that low back area. And when you get real fancy and aware of your body, you could start to notice if it's equal on both sides. If you're breathing into the right and the left equally. And let's do this wave-like pattern. You have the hand on the heart, the left hand is on the heart, the right hand is on the belly. Spread the fingers pretty wide here. Try to get the pinky finger of the right hand to go all the way down to where the right leg attaches to your body, and the right thumb is close to the right lower rib. Fingertips are kind of close to the middle, but I'd like your upper arm bones to be resting on the floor, so there's not a lot of work in this physically for the muscles. So let's bring the breath down to the hand that's on the belly. Notice if you're able to get it to move. For a lot of people, that's a little challenging at first. So let's begin where we live most of our time, which is the upper chest. So bring your awareness now to the hand that's on the heart and breathe to the hand, to the palm that's resting on the left side of your chest. You could push it closer to the middle. Breathe to that palm with your awareness. Let your breath be really deep here. And try to feel the upper chest underneath the throat area and the upper sides of the chest underneath the armpits and the upper back. Feel all of that area move as you breathe into the upper lobes of the lungs. Take one more breath in the upper lobes. Now we're going to breathe to the middle lobe, so in between the two hands, the front, the sides, and the back. Breathe, take a couple of breaths there. Now you're going to bring your breath down to the lower lobes of the lungs, which are right down where the lower ribs are. You're going to bring your breath to the right hand that's on the belly, to the palm to feel the belly rise. Make sure the sides are moving. You feel a downward movement towards the pelvic floor. And you feel a backwards movement towards the floor by the lower back. Really keeping your awareness in your ribs when you breathe. And every time you get distracted, bring your awareness back, like you would redirect a 2-year-old that got distracted. Bringing your awareness back to the breath. Now we're going to put all of that together, the lower, the middle, and the upper lobes of the lungs. Try to feel this all the way around, the front, the back, the sides, the downward and the upward movement of the lungs. And see this as your opportunity to recharge your batteries. Whether that's you need more physical energy, or you're a person who lives in your mind with a lot of thoughts. And unfortunately, there's more programming in our brain for negative thoughts, all of us. So it's not just you, it's all of us. And then there's that subconscious brain from your grandparents, from every generation that you came through to get to where you are. And that's a lot of drainage of our battery, our energy power. So this is our opportunity as a work in to recharge our life force energy, our whatever you want to call that energy that is in you. So you're going to feel your hands move with this, the lower hand in between the hands and then the upper hand when you do your breathing. I'll guide you through a couple of breaths and then let you go on your own. This is the breath that I use the most often if I am having a hard time controlling my thoughts, or if I'm having a hard time going back to sleep if I wake up in the middle of the night and I start to think about things. So this is a tool for your toolbox for major, deep, deep, deep self-healing. Let's take a breath to clear. Exhale. Let's begin. Inhale to the lower ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. Exhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. Inhale, lower, middle, upper. Exhale, lower, middle, upper. Inhale, lower, middle, upper. Exhale, lower, middle, upper. Inhale, lower, middle, upper. Exhale, lower, middle, upper. Continue on your own. Guide yourself through your pace. Stay with your breath. Lower, middle, upper. Bring your awareness back if it wanders. Lovingly, like you would to a 2-year-old that got distracted. Nature of their mind. Same nature of our mind. Finish the breath that you're on and then take 3 more breaths like this. Slow it down if you can. Stay with it, feel it, experience it, and be it. When you finish your last breath, let the breath go back to the body. Observe the breath. See where it goes. The breath is a sign of life. And while you are breathing, you are living. It's the most vital aspect of life is breath. We could live without food and water for a substantial amount of time. We cannot live without breath. This is our umbilical cord to life. It is the cord that charges your phone from the electrical outlet to your phone, is the breath. So when you need more energy, more happiness, more health, this is how you get it. It's the most valuable thing, most healing thing you could do. And I would say one of the most valuable tools in the practice of the wisdom of yoga. Bring your awareness to your fingers and toes as you begin to move them. And then move your body in whatever way feels appropriate for you. For some of you, straightening the legs may be appropriate, taking the arms overhead, stretching your tissue, your body glove. Use your surroundings to get the biggest stretch that you like in your body. Maybe you want to bend your legs and wiggle side to side. Whatever it is you do, let it be organic, let it be guided by the intelligence of your body. Don't forget that that exists. And then let's all meet with our knees into our chest. Lower back pressing into the floor side to side. So I'd really like to reiterate again how valuable the breath is. And if we did nothing else today except be here for an hour and 15 minutes breathing, that would be like the best vitamins and the most valuable thing we could do in terms of this present moment and actually all aspects. And then it's going to be nice to actually keep this package that we live in safe and strong and mobile and limber, which is what we're going to be doing now. So if you are in a position where you can stay on your mat, go ahead and do that. If you need to move and arrange yourself, if you brought other props to begin the practice, move them out of the way. And then have your block and your strap handy here. Let's bend your knees. Bring your knees into your chest. I'd like you to take your hands on the floor, and we're going to do a little bit of a side-to-side action here. Now I want you to feel the top edge of your pelvis pressing into the floor. So your knees will have to be relatively close to your chest for that to happen. If your knees are far away, then the top of your pelvis is not on the floor. It's your sacrum and tailbone area. I'd like your knees to be close to your chest. So you're going side to side. And the arms are out to the side. Whatever range of motion is available to you. So side to side. Then I'd like you to put your right foot on the floor and draw your left knee into your chest. And then if you could straighten the right leg, let it be slow and straighten the right leg. Knees to chest. This is asymmetric, one side at a time, which is a really good thing for those of you with back issues to do, is to separate the sides of the body so that you can start to release tension on one side and then the other. Keep your knee in and do a little bit of wiggle, wiggle. And then let's add the rest of the spine through flexion. Now, if you have osteoporosis, bringing your knee or your forehead up to your chest is not really advisable because it's going to add flexion into your spine. So if you do have osteoporosis, you could bring your head up and let your nose point straight up towards the sky. And then if you don't, I'd like you to, on the exhale, we're going to bring our nose up or our forehead towards our on me, I want you to go slow, because we're really going to lengthen this right side of the body, and especially that psoas, which is a muscle that, oh boy, that muscle, that psoas, let me tell you, the filet mignon of our body, holds a lot of emotions in our body. So it's called the emotional muscle. It's triggered or stimulated during the fear response. So for protection, it's your protection muscle. So we're lengthening it on one side and contracting on the other. Let's take an inhale here. As you exhale, bring your chin towards your chest, bring your nose or your forehead towards your left knee, and your left knee towards your forehead, and then slowly inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Go slow as you stretch your muscles, lengthening. If you'd like to accentuate this, flex the right foot, and on the exhale, slide the right leg long as you bring the head up towards the left knee. One more. And then bring yourself down, let your knee go down. Take a rest for a second, bend both knees. It may look like a really simple movement, yet we are stretching and strengthening the upper back and neck. We are lengthening one side of the body, lengthening that psoas, hopefully coaxing it or prying its grip, that tension that happens away from the lumbar spine, low back. So giving a little release to the low back and then the pelvis to get some freedom in the range of motion of the pelvis. Let's take the right leg in. So bring the right leg in at first. Notice when you come into this flexion in your joints that you may need to settle. You may need to get a couple of exhales to go over there. And then if you'd like to take that left leg long, go ahead and take the left leg long now. Then we are going to come up with our head. So let's take an inhale here. As you exhale, you draw your right knee towards your forehead, your nose towards your knee. Unless you have osteoporosis, your nose is pointing straight up towards the sky. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Typically in the practice, as we exhale, we close off or compress the lungs or the body. And as we inhale, we lengthen or we open the body. Exhale to come up. You could add the sliding of the left leg long here to get a little deeper in your body. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower, one more. Exhale to rise. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. I definitely feel the tension in my upper back and neck from lifting my head up. Let's take our legs wide here. My favorite is the windshield wiper action, wringing out tension in the pelvis, in the hips, in the waist area. Let's let the knees go side to side. The breath with this is you inhale when the knees move away from you. You exhale, firming up the core when the knees come towards you. You inhale when the knees move away from you. You exhale when the knees come towards you. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keep moving. Let your head go the opposite direction of your knees. And the next time you go to the left, stay there. Let your legs go. Your head is in the other direction. This is a gentle twist in the body. Just experience what you're experiencing. Notice where the stretch is in your body. It's nice to become acquainted with the issues in your tissues. Inhale. And then exhale, press your belly button to your spine as you bring yourself up. Let's go to the other side. Allow the knees to go to the right, head to the left. Deep breaths here. And then go ahead and bring yourself with the exhale back up to center. Bring your hands down alongside you. Push your feet into the floor and then lift your pelvis up and then let it go back down. We're going to do a little spinal undulation here. So there's 26 bones in the spine, the tailbone and the sacrum, 5 low back, 12 attached to the ribs, and 7 in the neck. So let's see if we could bend all of those in one direction and bend them all in the other direction, even though we're on the floor here. So take the hands behind the head. Let me just show you something for a second. When we come through this part, the flexion, with osteoporosis, you want to be careful not to flex too much, even though there really doesn't seem to be a lot of pressure here. I'd like to suggest that you don't do that with osteoporosis, that you come up here. And I have to say that because a lot of the people that come to my classes do have osteoporosis, and 50% of the population over age 50 has bone density issues, maybe not osteoporosis, but some. So just that raised awareness piece. For the rest of you, I'd like it to be pretty accentuated where the chin comes towards the chest, the elbows come towards each other. You point the tailbone up towards the sky and the crown of the head. So tailbone up towards the sky. You're making as much of a flexion position as you can on the exhale as you squeeze the breath out of the body. When you inhale, you want to try to get the biggest back bend you could get. And here you're going to feel the pressure on the elbows and on the tailbone so that the rest of the back is trying to come away from the floor. Tushy stays on the floor. The mistake that I see when I give this instruction is people think they need to lift the tushy off, and you do not lift the tushy off. You're undulating your spine, trying to get movement through the discs. This is good for keeping the spine nice and healthy, which is very important for not only feeling good in our bodies as we age, but also for the transmission of the nervous system and the fluids and keeping ourselves in good working order. All right, let's inhale here. Push your hands into the floor. Let your low back and lower ribs come away from the floor, but keep your tushy and your feet on the floor. Your tushy's not lifting up. Inhale here. As you exhale, come into that strong, deep flexion position. It's also a good self-chiropractic adjustment to get your spine back into alignment if it was off alignment. Exhale to come up. Inhale to lower. I feel a really deep stretch in my pelvis when I do this, all the ligaments and stabilizing muscles of the pelvis as I move my pelvis through forward and backward tilts. And I also feel the stomach muscles, the abdomen, when I come into my extension. So I'd like you to feel your belly stretch, low back stretch, pelvis, all the muscles that are responsible for stabilizing the midsection of the body. And then bring yourself back to center. Come all the way out. I love that. I hope that feels pretty good for you. Okay, feet are a little wider than the body. I'd like to go to the pelvic floor so that we can not pee our pants, to be so blunt, not pee our pants. So you could keep your hands behind your head when you do this, or have your blanket behind your head, whatever you'd like. So the pelvic floor, front to back, side to side, it holds up the entire pressure of the torso. And as we age, so any of you that are over 30-ish are having muscular degeneration, at least 1% per year after mid-30s, up to 3 to 5% if you're sedentary. So we want to make sure we maintain muscle mass in our body because it's good for energy production. It's good for strength, for support of our body. And so here I'd like us to focus on what holds you up. Let's add some tone to the pelvic floor muscles. So front to back and side to side. You could either imagine that you're drawing an egg, a white egg, a real egg, into your body, in the very center of your body, from the outside to the inside, alongside the front of your spine, up towards your heart. So you can imagine that it's an egg that you're bringing in, or if you'd like to think of something a little more dainty or beautiful, you could think a strand of pearls, and that you grab onto that first pearl, then you go up, 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 up to your heart. So whatever you'd like it to be, we're going to do this movement at the end of a breath. So it'll be like this. We'll inhale, then we'll exhale, then we'll activate the pelvic floor. Now, it's graphically taught in India as, at the end of your exhale, you contract your anal sphincter, you lift in, up, in, back, and up. So belly goes, so usually you do this in a seated position. So you'd lift in, up, in, back, and up. So it's a scooping in and up movement, okay? Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha's getting some locks in the lower part of the body. So it happens at the end of the exhale. So however long you could keep out your breath is the length of time you will contract your pelvic floor. Take an inhale, take an exhale, contract in and up, lift, lift, lift. When you need to inhale, inhale deeply. Contract, exhale, and then activate your pelvic floor. Keep going with your breath. Three more. Last one. And then go ahead and release. So hopefully you're doing that with a lot of force. It's very important for stabilizing the pelvis, for helping with low back issues, with hip issues, with your entire body, helping really get to that stabilizing aspect. All right, let's take your hands and you're gonna slide your fingers underneath your mat and your thumb stays on top. So your arms are long, the elbows are not bent, your fingers are sliding underneath your mat, your thumbs are staying on top. And then I'd like you to grab your mat and push your mat down towards your feet. Feel how your body moves up towards the top of the mat, and then release that hold. Hold on and pull down towards your feet. There's a little bit of a pelvic correction here. And then release. Hold on to your mat tightly, pull down towards your feet. Feel that little rocking action on your sacrum. And then release. One more. Pull down. And then release. That's a little release for the low back. So just in case there was something happened, for those of you with low back pain, nice little thing to do every now and then when you need, and just understanding that movement of the pelvis, the tilting. See if we could replicate that here on the body. Let's try to tilt the pelvis back and forward. So rock through, your body is on the floor, your pelvis stays on the floor. Rock through the sacrum to the tailbone. Try to flatten the low back and then let the low back go away from the floor. Flatten the low back and let the low back go back towards the floor. And then let's go ahead and release yourself. So get your feet, let's take the feet off the floor like this. I'd like you to look at your foot when it goes up. Notice if the soles are facing in towards each other. Notice if the heels are closer together than the toes. And let's start to get it so that when you bring your foot up, you don't see the inner edge of your heel. Okay, you do not see that part. So lead with the heel when you bring your leg up. And you may not get to that point. This is about proper function in the joints. And it kind of shows you a little bit of the pattern of what happens up above in joints. And this has to do with tightness in different areas of our body. All right, let's let both legs be in the air. Shake your legs, shake your legs. Let's point our feet and flex. Knees might need to be closer to your heart. Knees might need to be bent for some of you. For those of you that want a little bit more strength here and a little bit like core work, keep your legs straight right above your pelvis, coming out of your hip joint. A little bit more challenging to hold the weight of the legs up like this. So you do whatever you need. Heels are up, toes point. Heels, toes. I'd like you to feel the stretch on the calves, stretch on the top of the feet. Farther the legs are away from your body, the more core work this is, which is great for pelvic stabilization. And then we're going to go slow circles. So imagine you have Sharpie markers on your toes and you're drawing circles on the ceiling. And let's go in the other direction. And then let's go ahead and bend our knees. Wow, pretty intense. And this is the muscle, quadricep muscle group. We want that to be strong. That helps with bone health, helps with joint health, helps with proper alignment in the joints. And then let's go ahead and take your feet on the floor. So your feet are in a neutral position. Let's do a little bit of a pelvic stabilizing movement here. So I'd like you to push your low back to the floor, let your low back go into the floor, push your feet into the floor, and then just lift your body away from the floor a few inches so that the hand has a clearance and you feel the back of your tushy grazing your hand. So you're not too high that you have complete clearance. You're low enough that when your hand goes like this, you feel the flesh of the buttocks. And be okay with that. Even if there's a lot of flesh there that's grazing your hand, be okay with it. Stay here. And then contract your core, activate the pelvic floor. Push the left foot into the floor and let your right foot hover off the floor. Keep your pelvis nice and stable. Feet were supposed to be the same distance as the body. So if the feet are wider than the body, this will be more challenging. You can bring yourself back to a closer stance. And then let's go ahead and put that right foot on the floor. Let's do the same thing now. Lift the left foot away, stabilizing the pelvis. Deep breaths. The left foot is hovering off the floor. And then let's go ahead and bring yourself down. Let's take the feet farther away from you. Heels are in the floor. Let's do a little bit of glute work. The heels are in the floor. Lift the toes off and pull the toes close to you. Then flatten the low back into the floor. So a little bit of that pelvic tilting where you can even take your hands on the mat and move the mat down so you feel the low back pressing into the floor. Make sure your neck is nice and long here. Then you're going to squeeze your tushy, let your low back press into the floor, and then squeeze and lift your tushy off. Probably won't come that high, and then let it lower down. Squeeze, lift the tushy off. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. Squeeze, One more. Squeeze. Get your block, and let's put the block between the knees so that we turn on the adductors to help with this. Doing a lot of great stabilizing work here for your pelvis. Begin by flattening the low back into the floor. Squeeze the heck out of the block. Squeeze the tushy and lift the tushy up, and then lower the tushy. Lift the tushy up and lower. Really contract your tushy. You're also getting some hamstrings here. So if some of you are going into a place of cramping, I want you to go slow, and I want you to bring your breath into this. Of course, if you need to stop, stop. One more, let's bring yourself up, stay here. Squeeze the block, draw the feet towards the shins. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself all the way down. Let's take the block out to the side. Grab your strap. And then bring your knees up. Let's take your strap around your upper thighs. So if you have the ability to loop the strap, you could loop the strap or tie the strap. So whatever it is you have, or a towel or something. And when you put it on your legs, there should only be about this size of the block. There should only be a block distance between your knees. So you have the strap looped relatively tight. And then you're going to walk your feet away. You're going to draw your toes up towards your shins. You're going to take your hands on the blanket or the mat. You could pull down and toes are towards you, and then let the low back press into the floor. And push out on the strap pretty hard so you actually feel muscles turning on. And then squeeze the tushy, low back is in the floor, and then you're gonna lift up and bring yourself down. Lift up and down. A lot of pelvic stabilizing work, center body stabilization. And then on the next one, you're going to come up and stay up, stay here, pushing out on the strap. There's a tilt in your pelvis. Feet are pulling up towards your shins. If the shins are on fire and you need to put your toes down, go ahead. Really dig your heels into the floor. Little pulses pulsing out on that strap. Even if there's not movement. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. Let's bring ourselves closer to the body, so the feet go into a neutral position. So take the feet up and down, bring them here. And then we're going to be lifting the tushy a little bit higher here. So you may either take the blanket away from the back of the head or minimize the blanket. So if you have a pretty big fold in your blanket, make it more flat. Hands are down alongside the body. Begin by pushing down on the strap and let the low back fall towards the floor, or press towards the floor. And then you're going to inhale to rise, peel the back away from the floor, maybe to where the heart is, and then lower down. So not too far away yet. Pushing out on the strap, you inhale to rise. You exhale to lower. Let's do 8 more of those. Do them at your pace. Whenever you get to 8, I want you to stay up there and pulse for 5 breaths. Pulsing, pushing out on the strap. And then lower yourself down. I'd like you to loosen up your strap so that your legs go wide. Maybe as wide as the mat, not off the mat, but as wide. And you have a strap here still around your legs. We're gonna do the same thing here. So your feet are just putting down on the mat. They're not too close to your body here. Staying in this region of the body with the work that's being done. You're gonna push out on your strap, let your low back touch the floor, squeeze your tushy, inhale, push your feet into the floor, squeeze your tushy, and lift your tushy away from the floor. A little more limited range of motion. Push out on the strap, lift your tushy away from the floor. Keeping your body strong. Really good for healthy aging, stuff that we're doing today. Push out, just do all that you can do. On the next one, you're going to come up and stay up. Stay here. You could pulse with a strap if your side glutes will let you. Maybe a little fatigued at this point. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. Bring your legs up. We're going to make the strap tighter again, like we did, where there's only a block distance or a fist distance between your knees. And then you're going to take your block and you're going to place your block in between your feet. So the block is this distance in between the feet. It's not wider and it's not more narrow. It's the middle one. And it goes right in between the big toe edge of both feet. And you put your feet on the floor, and your strap is on your legs, strap's pretty close. Bring your feet closer to your body. And then you're going to hold on to the block with the feet and push out with the strap. Get your head nice and neck is nice and long. You could have a blanket underneath your head here. It could be a decent amount of blanket. It doesn't have to be too narrow here. We're going to work on the core, especially the deep core, which is a part of that stabilizing aspect of the pelvis, supportive for back health. Now, when we do lift the block off the floor, it's only, look at your thumb, and it's only the distance of the thumb that the block lifts off the floor, okay? So there should only be a thumb distance between the floor and the bottom of your block. Usually people lift it a lot higher, so I want you to stay in that range of motion. Much harder to be in that range of motion. And okay, so squeeze the block, push out on the strap. Begin by trying to stabilize the pelvis, so activate that pelvic floor. Push the belly button towards the spine, flatten the low back into the floor if you'd like. Take an inhale, and then exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. It should be hard. It's definitely very, very hard to do this. Lots of muscular action. On the next one, you're going to lift and hold. Just hold the block, push out on the strap. And then go ahead, bring your knees in, take the block out. Oh boy, legs are in the air. One more with this on the legs. You're going to have the strap this narrow way. We're going to come into a bridge posture. So we've done a lot down on the bottom part of the body to strengthen. Now I'd like to strengthen the upper back. When we have the strap here, we're able to lift our body away from the floor more. So in the bridge posture, you're going to come up higher, really putting compressive force in the back of the spine and strengthening the muscles in the back of the body. So for this, I'd like you to take the blanket away from your head, keeping your head nice and safe. Lengthen your neck here, chin is towards the chest, and then press your arms into the floor so that the shoulder blades slide towards each other. And you're going to walk your feet closer to your body. Push out on the strap. Let the low back touch the floor, so tilt your pelvis backwards, posterior tilt. Arms are down alongside the body, palms are on the floor. And pushing down on the strap, you're going to peel your spine away from the floor. Lifting up. Feel how the back leaves the floor. Don't let the weight go into the head and neck. So you have to bend the upper spine, pushing the heart towards the chin or towards the nose. Push out on the strap. Lengthen your knees here. So feel like you're getting longer in your legs. Push your arms into the ground, especially the elbow and upper arm, and feel how you could lift the upper back away from the floor even more. pushing that heart towards your nose. Deep breaths here. See if you could fill the lungs up here in all those ranges of motion. Three more breaths. When it's time to come down, placing one vertebra at a time. Down onto the ground. Bring your knees into your chest. Take your strap off to the side. Let's bring the block. We're going to wring our body out, wring the tension out. Do a twist to end the practice. So block goes between your knees, arms go alongside your body. You're going to allow your knees to roll towards the right. Let's go to the right here. So legs go over to the right. I'd like the shoulder blades to stay on the floor. So you may need to put the block underneath your legs for some of you. Or for some of you, it may need to be between the knees, or you could try down lower between the feet or the ankle joint. See what feels appropriate for you. You could take the right hand on top of the left thigh. That helps to deepen the stretch. Then create space in your left waist. Push the top of your left pelvis away from you with the muscles in your body, and the left ribs are reaching up towards the back wall. Deep breath here to your belly. Wring out the tension in the body. You could let the head roll to the left if you'd like. Take one more breath. When you move, you want to move with awareness, and going into and out of twists, it's important to do it safely and fluidly. I'd like you to lift one leg up at a time to come back to center. And then push your feet into the floor, lift your pelvis up, place it back down on the ground. Bring your knees into your chest. You're going to let your legs go over to the left. Keep your right shoulder blade on the ground. And then let your head go towards the right if that's appropriate for you. You could take your left hand on top of your right knee to deepen the stretch, stretching the glute area, the lateral chain, which we did a lot of work today with that part of our body, and this whole waist area. So create space here. Let the right top ribs move away from the right bottom ribs. And then hold on to that right knee if you'd like. Let your head go to the right. Deep breaths here. Take one more breath. And you're going to bring yourself back to center. So it's time for a final rest for Shavasana. So do whatever you need to do to prepare yourself, bringing your knees to your chest. Maybe you like to settle your body, bringing your limbs up towards the sky. Your Shavasana may be with your legs all the way straight, or it may be with your legs up the wall. Do whatever feels appropriate for you. So relax, let go, let everything go. If your legs are straight, let your legs be wide so you can let everything settle, and then pay attention to how the pelvis feels, how the core feels, how the body feels. Deep breathing, close your eyes. Explore plugging yourself in, bringing in that life force energy. Breathing into your entire lobes of your lungs, all lower, middle, and upper. Bring your awareness to your body. Awareness to the fingers and toes as you begin to move them. Bending the knees, bringing the knees into the chest. Rocking all the way onto your right side. Or whatever side, it doesn't matter what side you're on actually. And bring yourself up to a seated position. Coming into that seated position, close your eyes. Right back where we began, with ourselves. Feeling your inner self here, your body, how it feels. Important to keep the package safe, healthy, mobile, stable. Let's take our hands together, rubbing your hands together. The thumbs touch the sternum bone, which is the bone between the front ribs. Lengthen your spine here. We'll close with sound, a vibrational sound. Let's take an exhale to prepare. And then inhale. Bowing and namaste. So as we began today was that self pat on the back. So take your hand, pat yourself on your back for whatever you did today, every moment you were here, every breath you took, every movement you took to preserve what it is you live in, which helps you live this life you're living. So important. And thinking about that container, that being in this present moment and noticing when you are so dispersed and so disconnected to your body or to the present moment. And always bring yourself back there for wellness, for happiness, for health. So thank you. Probably had better reception here than I do at home. So I hope that was good for you guys. Definitely a lot of pelvic stabilizing work today, which I know that I felt the need for in my body. It'll help you with surfing, Michael, and hiking and all the stuff that you do. Yes, thank you. We're coming home tonight. So anyway, all right. I can just imagine those kittens, Lauren, jumping all over you. So exciting. All right, everyone, glad that I was able to be here, and I do think my reception is probably great. All right. I will see you all next week, and have a great Memorial Day weekend, whatever it is you're going to do. All right. I'm off for my next class and then my rest of my day. You're welcome, Stevie. I'm glad that I can do this. You know, someone said to me the other day, you're so lucky that this is what you're doing in your life, because what you're doing actually keeps you healthy as you age. And I'm like, I know, how lucky am I that I get to do this. Well, I do it for myself and I share it with you guys. And because I have to, or because I get to teach and work with people, I also then am lucky that I get it in my life. So it's reciprocal. All right.
bye. Off to pack and to get on my merry way. We fly tonight. All right, bye.